race fans. Welcome into another edition of the Turn 5 Racing Podcast, brought to you weekly by Penny and Electronics, Creekside Entertainment, and our good friends at Race Chaser Online, Speed 77 Radio. I'm your host, Steve Ovens, sitting alongside Clint Miller and B-Rad over on the soundboard. How we doing tonight, boys?
We're doing.
We are getting ever closer to the start of the dirt race season. And in fact, they've even started it down in Florida.
Yes, they have. I've been anxiously waiting. Yeah. Bubba Raceway was rained out like 7 nights in a row.
Yeah. They had a hard time trying to get that show in.
They did, and I follow them on Facebook, and of course Kenny Wallace was down there trying to run, and things didn't go well, and they did get some racing in last night, but I guess the track wasn't conducive, and they had some teams leave, but I guess they worked real hard to get it, where it was semi-raceable. So
yeah, I was trying to follow the action last night on Facebook and on Twitter, and it looked like they were getting ready to start the show at like 9:30 last night. So that kind of gives you an indication as to how hard they were working to try and get that show in. You and I have both been through that scenario where you start your heats at 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, and you just that's one of those instances where, the track promoters didn't give up. 21 of the 31 sprint car drivers that showed up didn't give up on it. And a guy who's no stranger to any kind of sprint car victory lane pulled down the big win there last night.
The Buckeye Bullet.
Yes, he did. Dave Blaney driving a very familiar paint scheme to all of our fans here in dirt modified country, but something a little different on a sprint car. Yeah,
Mohawk, Tommy Baldwin Racing, 98H. You'll be familiar with Jimmy Phelps and now Matt Shepard running out of that stable, and yes, that is the real Tommy Baldwin.
It was really neat to see that paint scheme on a sprint car. I don't know why, but when I saw that, I was like, man, how cool is that? I mean, we're used to seeing it on the modified, but I got to tell you, it looked really sharp on the sprint car.
Yeah, I'd have to look into it a little bit. I don't know if they had a car make the track last year, a sprint car make the track last year or not. I have to look into that a little bit. But
yeah, we were just talking about that when we first sat down tonight. We're trying to get some more information, and it was a little hard to try and find some creditable information on the internet about it. But good to see Dave Blaney back in victory lane, even in a sprint car race. Steve Buckwalter finished second last night, and we're actually going to be talking to him here in the next day or two. We'll try and air a little bit of that on next week's episode, or maybe the following week. A guy who Brad and I and Clint, maybe you as well, would be familiar with, Brent Hoover from here in Penn Yan, New York. Wrenching on the Steve Buckwalter machine. He's down there in Florida with him right now.
Oh, that's too bad.
Brent's from here in Penn Yan, and
wow, I did not know that.
Works real close with Jeff Quackenbush, and who runs on the Patriot Tour, and
yep.
So it was kind of cool. I was shooting some messages back and forth with Brent today, and they were obviously real stoked about getting a second place finish to Dave Blaney last night.
And why not? That it was stacked with talent, and I know they did have some cars leave. I don't know exactly who left and who stayed.
Yeah.
But I know that the Casey Kane Racing cars were supposed to be there, and I don't remember seeing their name in the rundowns.
A couple of names that we did see in the rundown that looked like they had some tougher nights was our friends Logan Schuhart and Jacob Allen. But as you were saying, Clint, you talk about their situation a little bit.
Yeah, well, I kept waiting for updates, as they were on our show, so I'm Logan was, so I was kind of wanting to know what was going on, and didn't see their name in the rundown. Did end up finding the official order of finish, and he and his cousin Jacob Allen were 20th and 21st, the last two cars. Upon further review, they only ran a couple laps and pulled in because the track wasn't, it was rough and their cars weren't real good. So they just wanted to save their stuff for I guess there's a big show tonight. And then, of course, the World of Outlaw season kicks out on Friday. So you don't want to bust your equipment up when you're trying to run a full World of Outlaw schedule.
And we just had that discussion, was them trying to make it through the California swing to be able to try and keep following the whole tour. So, yeah, I mean, we talked about the California swing. You definitely don't want to trash a couple cars in Florida, and not even on a World of Outlaws event.
I mean, it's one thing if you're running Friday night in a World of Outlaws show, but this is, All-Stars. It's just kind of a tune-up for going out there and racing. And I don't think I'd have done it either. I
just got passed a note from my soundboard operator / producer / statistician here.
/ everything.
Looks like Steve Buckwalter actually finished third last night in that 17B car.
Danny Dietrich. Did Dietrich get second?
Tim Schaefer was second. Okay. Yep. Dale, let's see, Buckwalter was third. Kerry Madsen was fourth. And Dale Blaney running the 14K rounded out the top 5. So not a bad show out there for... You look the rundown of the rest of the finishers. I mean, there was no slouches in the field for sure. Got David Gravel in there, came home 8th. Greg Hodnett was 9th. Chad Kemenaugh 10th. The Wild Child came home 11th. Jack Haudenschild.
There's Danny Dietrich. 12th.
Danny Dietrich 12th. I mean, no, it was full of talent. The field was for sure.
No KKR cars though, right?
Yeah, no. So. That was at the Bubba Raceway Park. Clint, let's talk about tonight's show. Went out on a Sunday morning.
Yes, you did.
To see how many drivers I could round up at the race shops getting their cars ready. I made 4 stops Sunday morning. First stop was down at the famous Skylar Chassis shop down in Himrod, New York. Got to catch up with... their driver of the 57J, Jared Hill, and got to shoot the breeze with master fabricator, Jim Schuyler, owner of the Schuyler race team. So got to talk with them. Tried real hard to get Jim on the microphone, but just didn't happen.
wasn't working that
wasn't happening, but was really insightful to go down and talk to those guys. I mean, with all of the changes that have come about this past week, with the rules package that's come out now for Black Rock Speedway for their late models, going to integrate the 360 crate late models, open BRP late models, and 2 other divisions of late models that will be legal to run at the Black Rock Speedway. So it was really good to catch up with those guys and kind of see where their head's at. I mean, they're running an open 360 late model, and in order to fit the rule changes to help make them competitive to the crates, a lot of changes that would be costly for a team like that. And I won't get too much into it because next week's episode we already have laid out at this point. It's going to be the Great Crate Debate. And we're going to have representatives from both the crate late model camp and we're actually reaching out to some officials from the Go Nuclear late model series to talk to us about the crate late models. And then we'll also be talking to Gary Montgomery from the BRP Can-Am late model series. And a special guest for next week, the editor
I like it.
of Dick Bergeron's Speedway Illustrated, Carl Fredrickson, just confirmed with us today that he'd like to join us and talk about different variances of the crate motor program, whether it's in a Sportsman Modified or in a late model of some kind. He has some very pointed opinions about any kind of crate program.
Boy, I'm not going to get into it tonight. I have my feelings on it, and
we're going to save it for next week.
We'll hear about it next week. But man, after watching Jeremy Wonderling at Black Rock Speedway in his crate car, please, it's just head and shoulders above. I don't think that there's anything that they could do that could make the 360 open, even being open, to be competitive with those cars.
Yeah.
Because what you don't put in the motor, you can put somewhere else.
Yeah. And there is a lot of good information, and there's a lot of bad information that are going around the different forum websites. I like to read those because I feel like for the most part, there's some really good information to be had and learned from there, from some
Agreed.
respectable sources. But I got to tell you, there are some guys out there that have no clue what they're talking about and posting on a racing forum. And, I'll leave those people remain nameless, but,
they know who they are.
They know who they are, and anybody that's listening to this show can get on there and find out who they are. You got somebody trying to convince me that the panel from the C post back is a sail panel, and I'm sorry, but anybody that is around modified racing or late model racing, as you were telling me, Clint, from back in the 80s and early 90s, we know what a sail panel looks like. So it's certainly a lot to discuss, and we are going to cover it from top to bottom on next week's episode. So that's really going to be fun. There's going to be a lot of differing opinions, and I want to preface that whole debate by saying, honestly, I go to the races, I cover the races, I write about it. I could give a rip what the rules are. It doesn't affect me. I don't care either way. If you like crates and I like open late models, that's great. No problem. But I do think for a show like ourselves, who is covering these classes locally, on a very local level, I think it's important to try and get all of the information about what's happening that we can. And,
Dean Hogan and I don't see eye to eye.
Okay.
I applaud him for giving this a shot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because, he's trying to keep the guys there that have frequented his track, that are loyal to his track. Mm-hmm. He's trying to do something so that they can keep coming race at his track.
Yep.
Whether it lasts or not, I don't know. The demographics, where, the crate guys are coming from, I think that there's probably tracks closer to where the crate guys are going to go. I mean, I don't see a lot of crate guys coming here. The Knowleses will probably be here. Waters, Wonderling maybe on a part-time basis, whatever.
If you've got a crate, I don't know why you wouldn't. Because if you've got a crate late model, you already have an advantage. And I don't say that an advantage as in an illegal advantage.
No.
But let's be honest. We're trying to come up with a rules package to help the opens be competitive to the crates.
Right.
So if you've got a crate, that's a no-brainer. If you want to race on Friday nights, that's where I'd go.
But if you are around the Raceway 5 area and you have a crate late model, you're going to go to Freedom. You're not going to travel all the way to Black Rock Speedway.
Well, that's very true as well. And I know that was one concern that Dean had, that Gary talked to us about, was the fact that, Freedom would hurt Dean's late model program. And, we'll see.
Yeah,
that's yet to be seen, but it's a possibility.
Yeah, but there really wasn't a lot of guys, like the last year or so, that came down from the Raceway 5 ranks. Like when we first went to the 360s, you got like Jim Johnson, Dave Du Bois. Then there was a couple other cars that came down from up there.
Dave was a strong competitor.
Yeah,
he
absolutely.
Was very good.
He's crazy.
Yeah.
And so that, having said that, those guys, once Raceway 5 opened back up on a full-time basis, you didn't see them around very much. Mm-hmm. They only came down maybe a week before the BRP show came down. So are we losing a lot of those cars? Yeah, I don't know. But Freedom opening up is not going to help that, regardless of whether...
That's true. So, as we can already tell, and based on what we've already talked about tonight, a lot to discuss next week, and I can't wait to have that discussion, because we're going to have opinions from all over, and they're going to be on both ends of the spectrum, and it's just something that I think is going to benefit the race fans and our listeners to the show here. Because let's face it, anybody that's listening to this show goes to Woodhull, goes to Black Rock, maybe goes to Freedom a couple times a year, and we'll talk more about Freedom later tonight in our buy or sell segment. I know Clint. I already know what Clint's answer is going to be. But
buy it.
We'll get there. So, let's see, what else do we have as far as news? Later on tonight, we're going to be talking with the folks from the Brady Fultz camp. I got to go over and see Brady at their race shop over there in Dundee, just off of Bridge Street.
Man, and some of them pictures you posted of like the old David's old cars.
Oh man,
that takes me back, man.
They have,
I love it.
They have pictures and photos. They have plaques from when BlackRock started doing plaques for the winners years ago. 2000, 1999, 2001, around that area.
The Sam Kelly era.
Yeah. You had plaques from Dave's 70 Superstock, from the white car to then the orange and white car,
and then the late model,
and then and then pictures as far back as the old 70 late model
in the late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's when racing was something. That was
they've got a nice little facility over there. They've got all that stuff hanging on the walls, and I'm standing there doing the interview with Brady, and in the background I'm looking at his championship trophies and different trophies from points in seasons past, and you just and I wrote about it for Race Chaser last night. Look at Brady Fultz. He's starting to get to the point in his career where he's raced more years than he's not raced, and look at what he's been able to do in his, I say short career, but really it's not that short.
Well, he was a rookie with me in the Superstock class in 04.
Yeah. Yep.
So I mean, he's got 9 years under his belt. So but he's progressed.
And he had the
really
years
good.
in the Bandits prior to that.
That's true. That is true. Yes.
You're talking double-digit years experience.
That's true. Yep.
So we're going to hear from Brady here in a little bit, but I think we'll head off to our first break, and when we come back, we're going to head out to Skylar Chassis and speak to the driver of the 57J, Jared Hill.
You're listening
to Turn 5. Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ and photo booth of the Turn 5 Racing Podcast. They have the most up-to-date karaoke to make your bar or party a great event. They also have the wedding DJs that will make your wedding reception one that the family will remember forever. Contact them online at www.creeksideentertainmentdj.com or call Stu at 315-481-9700.
Okay.
What?
The 80s called. They want their store back.
It's time for a new Radio Shack. Come see what's possible when we do things together.
Hey Brad, where do you go for your NASCAR, IndyCar, F1, short track, dirt, and World of Outlaws coverage?
I go to racechaseronline.com.
Aren't they also at Speed 77 Radio on live stream?
Yeah, they've got the Motorsports Madness Report on Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock and the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Report on Thursday nights at 7 o'clock. Join in on the fun at racechaseronline.com and see them on Facebook. Search Race Chaser Online. Welcome back, race fans, to the Turn 5 Racing Podcast, presented to you weekly by Penny and Electronics, Creekside Entertainment, and Race Chaser Online, Speed 77 Radio. Clint, we're going to head out to Himrod, New York, out to the famous Skylar Chassis Race Shop. We had a chance to talk with Jared Hill and the Skylar Racing team out there in Himrod, and he had a lot of good information for us, and was really a great interview. So let's head out to Himrod, New York. We're out here on a Sunday morning, out here at the famous Skylar Chassis Race Shop down here in Himrod, New York. We're going to talk to the driver of the 57J for the 360 late models, Jared Hill. Jared, thanks for joining us this morning, having us out and talking a little race cars this morning.
Hey, no problem.
So, looking ahead to 2014, I see we're getting the late models ready. What plan is for BlackRock, Woodhull, Tour with the BRPs? What are you guys looking at this year?
We're going to do the BRP Tour. Start out the first 3 weeks at Woodhull because they start before Raceway 5. We struggle at Woodhull. We might make the change to Raceway 5. I don't know. It's there. We're going to make a decision by, I think, May 3rd. where we're going to run Saturdays. As far as Black Rock, I'd like to run there. We'll probably start out there first couple weeks too, see what happens. We got our butts whipped. I don't know. We'll probably have to make a change as far as we don't want to blow money and run around 6th, 7th, 8th every week. We need to spend a couple years since we won. We need to win.
Yeah, and certainly the news coming out this week with the rules package, trying to blend the crates and the 360s together. I know that's created quite a stir this week in the late model camp.
Yeah, it has a little bit. Like I said, you can't fault Dean. He had 3 returning cars. Everybody, 4 guys in that class bought crates. A couple ain't coming back. I don't blame him. He had to do what he had to do to save the class. But we can run, I think, top 5 with them. But if we can't go there and we're getting beat by 2-3 cars by a straightaway or half a lap every week, I just don't know if it's worth going.
Yeah. And you talk about between Woodhall and Raceway 5, certainly being able to accrue those home track points is going to be really important for the BRP Tour this year. Yeah,
it kind of forces your hand to choose a Saturday track because now you got to run for points someplace and just bounce around where you used to take your best 5 finishes at a certain track, and so we're going to choose.
Yeah. And talking to some of your fellow competitors with the 360s, I know Freedom is now signed on as a BRP track. A lot of guys talking about doing their home track points at Freedom, or are they going to stick with Saturday night tracks?
I think a lot of guys from Batavia will go there. Raceway 5, they'll go up there. I don't know. I heard Johnny Waters taking his crate there, so I wouldn't be surprised if LeBarons follow him with their 360s and go run there on Fridays. We'll hit or miss there. It's hard. It's 2.5 hours from us on a Friday, so it's hard to get up there.
And let's talk about the change in the point structure for the BRP Tour this year. Putting a refocus back on home track points, where they hadn't had that system in a few years. Does that change anything for you as a driver? I mean, now your home track points are essentially just as important as the series.
Yeah, I think he's trying to eliminate some of these guys that they still have cars left but ain't going to run full time, that are just going to, what I call quote unquote, cherry pick at Little Valley for 5 shows as their home track, and then go race the 10 tour shows and win the money. So that's why he eliminated Little Valley from the home track. It's going to make every week just as important as every tour show.
Yeah. And you think about it, even though the series, the total number of races in the series cuts back when you factor in the home track points, essentially the series is almost just as long, if not a little bit longer. So a lot of racing and a lot of opportunity for you guys to get out there and show what you got.
Yeah, like I said, we run good at Raceway 5. We started to get better at Woodhall at the end of the year. I run good at Black Rock. So as long as we can get some wins and we can win a tour show, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. And let's talk real quick about what we're working on right now. I see, working on body panels, and we were just checking out a neat little tool for the bodies that you guys are working on. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, we're hanging the bodies in both cars. We just started installing the composite braces that Close sells that are pretty cool. Hopefully pretty durable, last, 5 years. Get our money's back out of them, hopefully cut down costs. But, yeah, we're getting there with the cars. My car's pretty close. Going to start hanging the body this week. Just got it wired. All the inner tin's done. So the other car's getting the body hung right now, and it'll be ready for all the motors and setups in them.
And let's talk about the party coming up Saturday, March 8th, up here at the Himrod Firehouse. Tell us, a little bit about that, the time, and all that stuff.
Yeah, it starts at 5. You can get a hold of me or Jim for tickets. Should be a good time. Always a great time to get a bunch of us together. Prizes and 50-50s. Good chance to walk out of there with some money, too.
Yeah, and on top of that, you've also got the question mark car going to be announcing the driver at the party. A lot of people talking about that, and it should be a really fun night for you guys.
Yeah, hopefully. Hopefully it's a fun year. It's been a struggle the last couple of years, and it gets to July, and it's no fun all the way to October. So hopefully it's fun all the way to October this year.
Yeah, and let's talk real quick. You're talking about the upcoming season. What's it mean to sit down in the 57J driving for Jim?
A lot. It takes a lot of stress off me. It ain't all if I'm going to be able to make it there next week. Between the two of us, we should have a competitive car. Shouldn't lack anything all year. So it means a lot to me. It really does.
That's cool. Well, guys, that is Jared Hill. He's the driver of the 57J. And before we end our time with him here, I want to give you a chance to thank all your sponsors and all the folks that help get the team out to the track.
I got to thank my Jim and Sharon, my wife, Jamie, all the crew. Mike Kastner, he helps us a lot. Of course, your dad Stu helps us. Larry Kennison, he's pretty good. Lauren Lincoln, every part we put on this car, usually tries to cut us a deal or helps us out any way they can. Tim Sebring helps us quite a bit. Bergen's Groceries and Gavenda Engines.
All right, there we go. We were going to try and get a word with Jim, but he's over here giving the list of sponsors for you. So we'll see if we can't get Jim on the recorder here, but I don't think it's going to happen.
No, I don't know. He's shy over there in the corner like a little kid.
All right, guys, that's Jared Hill. He's going to be the driver of the 57J this year on the BRP Can-Am Late Model Series. You check him out, and before you know it, season's going to be starting up, so you can check these guys out at Woodhall, Raceway 5, probably out at Black Rock, and certainly on the series. So thanks again for joining us, Jared.
No problem. Thank you for coming.
All right, Clint, there we go. Got
that was kind of cool.
It was, and it was really a lot of information there. When we were just talking here, about the late models and the numbers and who we'd see at Black Rock and wondering who we might not see. And, there's a team right there. It's got an open 360 late model that, if they do run Black Rock, sounds like maybe they're going to just try and make the spoiler change and, bigger tires, rims, all that stuff. I mean, they were just shooting off some ballpark numbers to me yesterday, and they're talking $1,500 worth of changes.
Yeah, I mean when you're buying the 13-inch tire and the aluminum rims, they fit the 13-inch tire. Then you got to think, man, is it really worth it?
Yeah,
especially when they have to run Woodhall or Raceway 5 on Saturday if they want to contend for the BRP championship.
Yeah.
Do you want to go through all that from a Friday to a Saturday?
Right.
Because you're talking about a 4-barrel carburetor, maybe an intake, and
which I guess you could, and you would know better than I. But is that really realistic to change all that stuff to go to go run Woodhall or Raceway 5 Saturday?
My opinion, no.
And the reason I ask this is because I think the more you're messing with that stuff, to change it over from Friday night to Saturday, you're opening yourself up to run into problems. Mm-hmm. And if any track you don't want to run into problems, it's the track that you're running for your BRP home track points.
It's one thing, and I've always thought this with Carl and my dad, when you race Friday night at Black Rock Speedway, you can run on a Saturday and go play when you're not running for points because you got all week to fix it.
Yep.
You tear up your car Friday night because you're out playing, maybe working on something, whatever, and then you got to turn around and have that car fixed by Saturday night. That creates a lot of stress on crews, and crews help for nothing, and we can't always get there.
Yeah.
So that's added stress to change it over from Friday to Saturday. Just basic stuff, not counting if you tear it up.
Right. And I talked to Jared, off the recorder about the fact that the 93 street stock is sitting over in the Creekside shop, and I know that Jared's focus is going to be the late model, as it should be. What an opportunity to get to run for Jim and Sharon. I know just by standing there and talking to Jared for the time that I did Sunday morning, you hear it in his voice. You could see it in his facial expression. It means so much to Jared. And I'm going to go to something that you talked about a few weeks ago. You were talking, I can't remember if it was Carl or if it was somebody else that we interviewed. You said a little bit of confidence goes such a long way for a race car driver.
Mm-hmm.
And interviewing Jared Sunday morning, I saw a guy, and we saw it in that last race of the year for Empire 100 weekend, or maybe Woodhull was after that. It slips my mind now. But anyway, those runs toward the end of the year where Jared had just some great runs in the 57J, give him a little bit of confidence, got himself feeling good over the winter. And like he said in the interview, running for Jim, those guys teaming up, putting their resources together.
Yeah.
That just, he's going to have so much confidence going into the season.
You know, like when he was running the 12J, whether it was under his own Creekside or I think last year he ran it under the, Jim's banner, but he knew that his car was decent, but everything would have to fall into place for him to be able to contend in the 12J. And it's happened because I've seen him dominate fields in the 12J. But
there was a race at Black Rock last year that he probably could have won had he not run into bad luck there late in the race.
You're absolutely right. But now he's got that little bit extra. And, I'm looking forward to watching him this year, making trips Saturday night somewhere to watch him go. And I'll probably help out on the team once in a while. But I can't wait. I'm excited for him.
Yeah, and you could also see yesterday, in the time that I spent with Jared and talking to Jim too. Jim's looking forward to the season. I mean, you could see that Jimmy's in his element, working on those late model race cars, and I know that if Jim could still be out there doing it, you're damn sure he'd be out there doing it. But
last a couple weeks ago, they went up to the Sweeteners Plus shop.
Okay,
and got some used parts from Vic Coffee.
Nice
brake hats, and they saw T-Mac's his new rocket chassis that were up there, and Vic's got a new rocket chassis, and so they were able to go and explore the shop a little bit. And Jim came in to see me at Radio Shack, and he goes, "I didn't even think about asking you to come up." He says, "You really enjoyed that." I said, "Yeah, you're probably right." Jerk.
Well, I got to tell you, those guys are going to be that's going to be a team you're going to want to watch for. And by the way, we haven't mentioned, we don't know who the mystery driver is yet.
Question.
That could be that's going to be really fun. I'm really looking forward to watching those guys thrive this year, because I don't even feel like I'm going out on a limb by saying this, but Jared's going to win a race in the 57J this year, whether it's a Woodhull, Raceway 5, or on the tour. And let me tell you, if they get a tour win, the party will go on the rest of the season in Himrod, Dundee, you name it. The party
will bounce.
And I'm telling you, I don't care where I am. That's a party I'm going to, because that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and Jared really likes Raceway 5. He's had a lot of good runs up there.
Yeah.
Woodhull, his confidence the last couple of years, he really hasn't run that well up there. Now he sat in Brian Knowles' car and couldn't believe the difference in what it felt from that to his. So if he can get that feeling in the 57J.
And they also talk about, if things don't go well at Woodhull the first couple of weeks, those home track points are so important. They may have to make a change and go to Raceway 5.
Yeah, if they come out of the box and they struggle and they're 9th, 12th, 13th, and okay, Raceway 5's opening up next week.
A place that he enjoys, a place that he likes.
There you go.
Watch out! Let's go, oh, man. I'm getting geared up. I can't wait. It's gonna be awesome to see how this all comes together for him, and I'm really happy for him as a friend. And that's awesome. It's so good. Well, we got to get to our next interview. We're gonna head off to break. When we come back, we'll go back over to Dundee, New York, and speak with the driver this year of the small block modified down at the Woodhull Raceway, Brady Fultz. We'll talk to the driver of the Schroyer Race Cars, number 70, when we come back.
You're listening
to Turn 5. Hey Brad, where do you go for your NASCAR, IndyCar, F1, short track, dirt, and World of Outlaws coverage?
I go to racechaseronline.com.
Aren't they also at Speed 77 Radio on live stream?
Yeah, they've got the Motorsports Madness Report on Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock and the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Report on Thursday nights at 7 o'clock. Join in on the fun at racechaseronline.com and see them on Facebook. Search Race Chaser Online.
Okay?
What?
The 80s called. They want their store back.
It's time for a new Radio Shack. Come see what's possible when we do things together.
Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ and photo booth of the Turn 5 Racing Podcast. They have the most up-to-date karaoke to make your bar or party a great event. They also have the wedding DJs that will make your wedding reception one that the family will remember forever. Contact them online at www.creeksideentertainmentdj.com or call Stu at 315-481-9700. Welcome back, race fans, to the Turn 5 Racing Podcast, brought to you weekly by Creekside Entertainment, Race Chaser Online, Speed 77 Radio, and, of course, our good friends down at Penn Yan Electronics.
Hello.
Down on Main Street in beautiful downtown Penn Yan. We are off to our second interview, and this was one that we did right in downtown Dundee out at the Brady Fultz race shop. They just brought in I guess we'll call it a brand new Troyer. It's not been used too many times, and that's all I'll say about that. But brought in a new Troyer over to the Team 70 shop, and Brady talked to us about his plans for the year. And let's go to that interview, and we'll discuss after Brady tells us what his plans are for 2014.
We're spending our Sunday morning venturing around the different race shops out here in the Penn Yan Dundee area. Made our way out to the Brady Fultz race shop out here in downtown Dundee. And Brady, thanks for taking some time to talk to us this morning, getting fired up for the race season.
Yeah, I'm not too fired up just yet, but it's going pretty slow. But just trying to get everything gone through and put back together, and race season's coming up real quick, but just trying to get everything done in time. It kind of gets tough when we got other things going on.
Yeah, I see here that you have a few parts and pieces still left to bolt on here.
Yeah, I got a lot of parts and pieces to bolt on, but mainly everything's cleaned up, and hubs and stuff are all, bearings are all packed, rear end's ready to go, front end's ready to go in, and it's just basically slap one together. But it's with a dirt modified, that stuff goes on pretty quick, and especially when you've had a car together before, everything's all right there, so you just bolt everything together. It still takes a little bit of time, but it's definitely a pretty easy task with a dirt modified.
And let's talk about upcoming season. We're standing here looking at what's going to be your small block ride for the year. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, we planning on running Woodhall with the 358, and I'm trying to get a second car together to do Black Rock, but that's going to fall on if we get enough funding and if I can get enough parts for it. But we're just planning on getting one car together as of now and go from there with it.
And you're talking about getting the second car together and securing funding to do that. I know coming up here in a little over a month or so, you guys are going to be doing your annual party here in Dundee.
Yeah, I'm going to be doing another race party at the American Legion on March 29th. And we've been doing that. This is the third year now, and you guys DJ it for us, and we have a lot of fun, a bunch of raffles and stuff, and it's a good time.
Yeah, a lot of raffles, a lot of fun. I'm sure there'll be some beverages there as well.
Yeah, there'll be a few beverages, and after party's pretty good as well.
That's right. It's always a good time out there. So let's talk about what you guys are looking for this year. I know this will be the first, I believe, full-time year that you've done with the small block, and so what are there any expectations, or is it just kind of trying to see what comes of it?
Yeah, we just need to move up. You can't keep competing in a division. That you can't get any better by running against the same guys. It comes a point when you need to move up, and we got the opportunity to be able to move up, and I need to do that. And and we've also gone to some bigger shows with the 358 and done real well. So. Confidence-wise, I know we're capable of it, and another way of having more fun with it.
Yeah, and you certainly have had some pretty good success both with the small block for the shows you've done, and certainly with the Sportsman Modified. So, I mean, that the Sportsman to the small block, it's just that natural progression to, okay, we've done probably just about everything you can do in the Sportsman car, so it's just that natural progression up.
Yeah, I mean, it's not too much of a difference as far as, what we're doing with the chassis setup-wise. Everything's the same, just putting a bigger motor in there. And, I don't have to change the car too much as far as setup-wise. And you got the motor, might as well go run it.
What's it like having that power in the modified down at Woodhull? I mean, Woodhull's a fairly tight track, but, these cars put out a lot of power, too.
It's a lot of people say, that's no fun because you got to get on the gas, you're right back off it. But I think it's still a blast. You can go in there in the high banks and just hammer around the top. And, all these other tracks, they get so slick and this and that. Well, a lot of Woodhull guys think that place gets slick. It doesn't get as slick as they think. They don't know what a slick track is like, unless they've been on Weed Sport or Canandaigua. I still like it, and it's a challenge. But it's a real fun track to run. But then when you get finally go out and run bigger tracks with the 358. We went to Little Valley, and that's a lot of fun, too. It's definitely a little intimidating being on the throttle that long. Mm-hmm. It's part of it, and it's a blast.
Cool. And talking about Woodhull, between turns 1 and 2, 3 and 4, one of the corners that are harder than the others. I mean, you got the high banks of 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4 is pretty tight on the bottom, and then on the top, like you said, you can, when the track's great, you can really hammer around there.
Yeah, it's depending on the night and where everybody's running, you got to pick your lanes wisely. But I mainly just like to run the top basically because everybody runs the bottom. You got to be where they're not.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times, guys, they go there and they just, putt around the bottom. They always get caught up in the accidents. So you got to stay out of the trouble. And, if you do that, you're ahead of the game.
First time you ever dipped the right sides off the back stretch of Woodhull, what was that like?
That's interesting. You just stay on the throttle and hope you come back up on the track and not hit another car. But I've definitely seen it where guys jump back out in front of you. You got to keep your eyes open.
That's for sure, and we've seen a few guys picking corn out there too. So it's always interesting out there.
Yeah, you can go for a ride there. That's for sure.
All right. Well, as we look ahead to 2014, I want to give you a chance to give some airtime to all the folks that are behind you, both with the family, crew, sponsors, all that deal.
Yeah. I think everybody's been helping out. Uncle Alan's been helping out a lot, and Willie and Nick. A couple of my crew guys and Dad, and they go with us each week, and we have a lot of fun that way, being able to go to the racetrack, and we do do a little cooking and racing and have a good time. I'm not sure. I still haven't been in contact with too many of my sponsors yet. I know who's coming back on board. I got to talk to a few, but without sponsor help, you can't do it, and so I got to thank them as well.
All right. Well, we'll look forward to seeing this Troyer Chassis 70 down at Woodhull, and anywhere else that we might find you out at some of the bigger races. And good luck to you this season.
Hey, thanks, Steve.
All right, guys, that's Brady Fultz, driver of the 70 Small Block Modified. He's going to be running down to Woodhull this year, and his crew guys giving him a hard time here at the shop, but we certainly appreciate your time. You guys are listening to Turn 5.
Well, there you have it, Clint. Brady Fultz moving up to the Small Block Modifieds over at the Woodhull Raceway. Not a huge shock.
No, not really. You're right.
And it did answer some questions for me because I was trying to, he was talking about moving up to the modifieds at Woodhall, but he was also talking about running some sportsman races. And until I got over to the shop to see, these guys got a second car, now it's like, okay, I got it. And they got 2 cars that they could work with. And, we'll see what happens. I'm not sure that they're totally set that they're going to be able to get that sportsman car together. But honestly, if you're looking to invest in a race team, not a bad guy to go and talk to. I mean, if he did get that sportsman car together, he'd be competitive as soon as he rolled through the gate.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. He's come a long ways, and he showed everybody he can wheel that sportsman around the racetrack at Black Rock Speedway, and he showed people that he can wheel it around the high banks of Woodhall too. I remember I watched him last year. I think it was one of the last races of the year. He started up towards the front, kind of faded back a little bit, and then found his groove up on top, and I think he got all the way back up to third. So he's proved that he can do it.
Absolutely, and he talked about the fact that I love going to Woodhall and just hammering around the top because everybody else is running the bottom, so you got to go where they're not. And I thought, man, he's right. I mean, and when Woodhall's great, you really can hammer the top and make some moves. And certainly you're not going to pass. You're not going to come up through the whole field doing that. But yeah, if they're running low, absolutely hammer around the top and see what you can make happen.
Yeah, it's Woodhall's a lot like Dover is. It's a self-cleaning racetrack.
Yes.
So but having said that, my dad had a lot of success at Woodhall running around the bottom.
Yeah.
A
lot of guys have.
Yeah. So, I mean, to say that you can't do that is one thing, but you do have a tendency to get caught up in some extra stuff if you are on the bottom.
Yep.
But so.
I got to tell you, Woodhall is a track I could never get a handle on. I remember following Josh Mills down the front stretch at Woodhall, first time I ever been there, running the 4-cylinder class. And we got ready to go into turn 1, and I was watching him, and he turned right as we're getting ready to go into turn 1, and it spooked me so much I almost blew the corner. I about came right into the pit area, and I came in and the Pavoskis and my dad come over and said, "What's wrong?" I said, "He completely turned the wheel right and then threw the car to the left." And they said, "Yeah, that's welcome to Woodhall."
Yeah. You have to turn right to go left.
I'll tell you, that's for the first when you've not been there before. That's a pretty intimidating track.
That was the first track that I ever raced on.
Okay,
I mean, I did like the hot laps at Black Rock and stuff, but my first official night racing was at Woodhall, and driving into 1 and 2 was a lot easier for me than driving into 3 and 4.
Oh yeah,
3 and 4 is a lot darker.
Yeah, it's a lot tighter too. I mean, especially if you're going to try and run that preferred line down in the bottom.
Right, yeah. But I, listening to him talk about going over the edge and coming back, that night that I raced, Alan Crooker went over the edge, and he stayed on it, and when he came back up, he actually landed on my front bumper and bent it down towards, almost down to the racetrack. So
I'll tell you, I got almost caught up in an accident similar to that. I'm coming out of turn 1, I see a guy is dipped down below, and I said, "Oh, sit back, boys. Here we go." Sure enough, here he comes up over the chute and took 3 cars with him, headed to the infield. So I'll tell you, Woodhall's a racy little track. If you're looking for a track to go to on a Saturday night, if you've never been there before, you gotta go to Woodhall.
Yeah, Woodhall, it's an adventure, man. It's awesome.
And sitting in the grandstands of Woodhall, it's the Eldora of the Southern Tier. And I don't know if it's ever been called that before, but I do copyright that, Eldora of the Southern Tier. So, good interview there with Brady. We'll talk to him more as he gets ready to start his rookie campaign at Woodhall Raceway. We'll toss it off to a break here. When we come back, Clint, new segment for the show. We're going to wrap it up with Buy or Sell.
You're listening
to Turn 5. Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ and photo booth of the Turn 5 Racing Podcast. They have the most up-to-date karaoke to make your bar or party a great event. They also have the wedding DJs that will make your wedding reception one that the family will remember forever. Contact them online at www.creeksideentertainmentdj.com or call Stu at 315-481-9700. Hey, Brad, where do you go for your NASCAR, IndyCar, F1, short track, dirt, and World of Outlaws coverage?
I go to racechaseronline.com.
Aren't they also at Speed 77 Radio on live stream?
Yeah, they've got the Motorsports Madness Report on Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock and the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Report on Thursday nights at 7 o'clock. Join in on the fun at racechaseronline.com and see them on Facebook. Search Race Chaser Online.
Okay?
What?
The 80s called. They want their store back.
It's time for a new Radio Shack. Come see what's possible when we do things together.
Welcome back, race fans, to the Turn 5 Racing Podcast, sponsored by Race Chaser Online, Speed 77 Radio, Creekside Entertainment, and Penn Yan Electronics down in downtown Penn Yan. Clint, going to wrap up this week's episode with a new segment, Buy or Sell.
Is there a trade portion? Can we trade or barter?
No trading.
Okay.
Buy or sell.
All right.
So, this segment, we are going to talk about a few different topics here. We only are going to give ourselves a minute or two to discuss it. We don't want to get anything too long here.
That's fine.
But let's just get it started off. Now, we're going to cover some national stories, some local stories, anything in between. And let's start it off with buy or sell. Tony Stewart wins a race in the 2014 season.
Selling it.
You're selling it?
I'm selling it.
Okay, why?
Last year, they didn't have a very good year. He got hurt. Mark Martin gets in the car, and he was running great with Michael Waltrip Racing.
Yeah.
Mark Martin gets in Tony Stewart's car. I think his best finish was like 14th or 15th. For some reason, they're behind the eight ball somewhere. Ryan Newman did have a couple good runs, but he never really contended. I mean, he did win one, I think.
Won the Brickyard.
But yeah, but I almost think it was fuel mileage. It was a fluke, whatever it was, Ryan Newman. But
wow,
I kid. But yeah, no, I'm selling it. I don't think he's gonna.
Okay, doesn't get a race at all in 2014.
I don't think so.
Okay, let me extend that one with a follow up question. Anybody out of Stuart Haas, who's going to have the most wins?
Kurt Busch.
Really? Okay, I'll go with you. I'm going to buy this. I'm going to say Smoke gets a win. He may get multiple, but I think he's at least going to get a win and punch his ticket to the chase. What happens after that? Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
His team may blow over by then.
But now, I if he does win one, I hope it's Daytona because he's never won Daytona. It's kind of an Earnhardt story.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see him get a Daytona this year. Nah, I don't think so.
Okay. Let's move to World of Outlaws sprint cars. Steve Kinzer wins 3 or more races this year. Buy or sell?
Buy.
Really?
Buying it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a lot of races last year he was competitive in, and I had a part failure or got caught up in something. I'm going to say he goes out with 6.
Okay. I'm going to buy this as well. I was thinking more in the 4 to 5 range of races that he'll win this year. And, how cool would it be if a couple of those wins came on some big races? Look what Fast Freddy did this year.
Yeah, and they are going to Indiana this year, his home track.
Yeah.
Now, that would be cool.
They would tear the grandstands down if he won that race.
They'd be rebuilding.
All right, now let's bring it back a little bit more local here. Let's talk Black Rock Speedway. Buy or sell. The street stock division draws 24 cars or more on a weekly basis. You got to factor in the sponsorship by Greg's Auto Body. Going to be $500 to win, $50 at least to start. Buy or sell. 24 cars.
I'm going to sell it, but I'm only going to sell it till about 2 months into the season. I think people are going to be waiting to see how it goes, see how many cars are showing up there, but they will flock when the field starts filling up. So I'm going to sell it to mid-season.
Okay. I'm thinking positively about this. I think it's going to make a difference right off the bat. I really do. When you step up with the sponsorship that Greg's Auto Body has done, I think that really is going to send a very positive message. You also have to think about the guys that may have been thinking about moving up to a late model, and now all of the messiness of the late models now you could run a street stock for the same purse. I think
True. That's very true.
I think that there's some guys that may have thought about stepping up that are going to say, you know what, we can do what we do well and run for a good purse, so I'm going to buy it. Let's stick with Black Rock Speedway. Buy or sell 8 divisions on a weekly basis.
Sell it.
And why?
It's too much. Bandits, great. I love the beginners class. It's fine. But you can get away with running 3 or 4 classes. I mean, and you know what? If he ran the 8 classes and he could get us out at a reasonable time, that's another thing. But there's no reason why you should have over 4 classes on a night. Get in, get out. That's what keeps bringing people back. They don't want to be there in the standstill midnight.
Yeah, I sell this because I think you're going to run too late into the night. And I know there's a lot of opinions out there, and thank God we live in a country where we can have all these differing opinions and still go out and enjoy some racing. But I think it's going to run too late into the night. And this is just on a regular week. What happens on a night when a special tour or division comes in? We don't know what the schedule looks like yet.
Right.
But,
then they usually run just features.
And I'm buy or sell. I sell that idea. I don't like that. Why are you cutting races for guys that support your track every single week? I would rather you give me the week off than to make me tow my car there and charge me the same amount of money to get through the back gate and the same amount of money to put fuel in my car and wear and tear and yada yada yada. And you're going to just give me a feature? No.
Yeah,
sell.
I'm selling it. I'm selling it. And Dean can say what he wants. We don't own a track, so we can do that. But if you're gonna do that, give the driver a free admission into the races. Give him one free pass if the driver wants to give it to a crew guy. Whatever, give him a free shot to get in.
All right. Now let's stay local, but let's move over to the Canandaigua Motorsports Park modified division. Buy or sell, Billy Dunn pulls down his first championship at Canandaigua this year. I gotcha.
You got me. Oh, I'm tore. I'm tore up with this. I'm going to say sell only if Matt Shepard's coming back. If Matt Shepard comes back, he's the favorite. I know Billy challenged him last year and challenged him right up to the last couple weeks of the year. But if Matt Shepard comes back, he's the guy to beat. So I'm going to sell it.
I'm gonna be devil's advocate here, and I'm gonna buy it. And I'm gonna buy it because there's that famous saying, you gotta lose one before you can win one. And Billy was so close to winning one.
Agreed.
And he lost it by just a mere few points, and I think he's gonna come back strong. And I mean, they had a fabulous year last year.
They did.
And, to come up short still, I think that's going to put a pretty good fire in his belly. Not to say that there wasn't one already, but I'm gonna say that he lost that by a little bit last year. He's gonna come back and get one. All right, let's move back to national topics. You're gonna love this one, Clint. Chase Elliott, buy or sell? He wins 2 or more races on the Nationwide Series this year.
I'm gonna sell it.
Oh,
I'm gonna sell it.
Oh,
he may get one, but there's too many guys that come down that run the bigger tier that he just doesn't have all that Grand National experience yet. So I'm going to sell it. I'm going to say he gets 1, 2. I don't know. Hell, his team owner can't win one anymore. So
come on, man, that's rough. That's rough. I'm buying it. I am. I know it's his rookie season, but I'm pushing all my chips to the middle on Chase Elliott.
The kid can drive.
This kid can drive. And I know there's a lot of rookies, both in Cup and Nationwide this year. But I'm telling you, if you are a fan who is not happy with the driver you root for right now and you're searching and you want somebody that you can follow for years, decades to come, it's time to get on board the Chase Elliott bandwagon.
Get on the Chase Elliott train. You know, I'm a Denny Hamlin fan, but he's in the Cup. I'm Chase Elliott. I'm going to follow him, and I'll be in his corner.
All right, let's stick with the NASCAR theme. Buy or sell Richard Petty's comments saying that Danica will only win a race if nobody else shows up.
I'm buying it.
Oh.
I'm buying it. I've said it all along, man. And it's not that she can't drive. I'm not saying that. But these cars weigh 3,500 pounds. You have to be able to manhandle them when they're not just right. She's not strong enough to do it. I've seen people come up. Erin Crocker was a great wheel lady, you know, and as soon as she stepped into the trucks she couldn't do it. I'm buying it. She can't win. I'm
gonna sell it because as long as there's still Daytona and Talladega on the schedule, she's got a shot. And really, if you want to take it even further, as long as Daytona, Talladega, Sears Point, Sonoma, and Watkins Glen are on the schedule, she's got a shot. I'm not sold on the cookie cutter tracks, the short tracks. Although you want a dark horse at Martinsville, Danica Patrick. She pulled down a top 10 last year and ran well.
No.
Okay.
I'm pretty firm on buying old RP's comments. That's
Fair enough.
And when it comes to the last lap at Daytona or Talladega, because now there's no more tandem drafting, they will leave her out to dry. It'll look like she's got a parachute on with 2 to go.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens this year for sure. It's going to be a great race to watch.
Buy it.
Clint says buy it. All right, fair enough. Staying with NASCAR. Buy or sell. Steve Letarte gets a couple of wins before he heads to the NBC booth.
Who's he crew chiefing?
Dale Jr., baby.
Selling it.
Dale, yeah.
Selling it.
Oh, he sells it. Come on, man. They're gonna get at least one. And look how well they ran at the end of the year. I mean, if it wasn't for that blown motor in Chicago, I don't even want to think about it.
Ifs and buts or candies and nuts.
I don't even want to think about it.
Ifs and buts or candies and nuts, and we'd all have a good Christmas.
All right. Hey, that was our first time at Buy or Sell. That was a lot of fun.
That was awesome.
I think we're going to do that again.
You didn't buy and sell freedom at
oh man, I had it written down and I completely missed it. All right, let me pose the question. Buy or sell Freedom Raceway, $10 to get in for an adult.
Buying it.
And I know you've got a lot of good feedback on this.
Buying it. You sit in the pits at Black Rock every week. And like I said, I don't own a racetrack, but I have talked to people that did own the racetrack. Dean's charging like $16 to $18 on a regular night to get in. And he's getting 100, 150 people maybe. The nights that he has free shows, the place is packed.
Mobbed.
You can't bring in your own food or beverage. Charge $10 to get in. Okay, don't bring in your own food or beverage. That'll still work because it's only $10 to get in. You know, when you're going to take a family, and families aren't small anymore. You know, there's lots of people that have families of 4 or 5 people. So when you're paying $50 just to get into the races, if you take your own food, that's one thing. But you're not going to buy at the racetrack, and that's where racetracks make their money is in the concessions booth. So
that and the back gate.
That's we don't. That's a topic for that's another discussion altogether.
Well, I thought about this one, and let me first say buy for Freedom Raceway or Freedom Speedway, Freedom Raceway.
Yep.
I love that. They're coming back. I think you had told us that track had been not running the full schedule.
Yep.
For a little bit, and it's great to see them back up and running. I love $10 adult admission. That's really great. Now, to go to what you were talking about, it's one of those things where you got to make ends meet, and it's let's face it, the last couple of years the racing climate has been a little bit grim.
Mm-hmm.
And not just at one place. It's all over the board. I think there's been quite a increase in more positive things. Tracks that are they're still doing it. They're still kicking. They're still they're making ends meet, making it work, doing great things for the fans. But yeah, I don't think I can even form an opinion. It's just one of those things where, yes, it's very easy to say, okay, $10 admission, and we hope more people come out. I don't know if that's a guarantee, though.
Well,
so it's one of those things that you got to make ends meet, and not owning a racetrack, I don't know how all that works.
You're going to get your back gate regardless. So we're going to take that right out of this portion of the equation.
Okay.
You're going to get your cars into the pits. Would you rather have 100 people at $17 a night to get in? I'll split it.
Mm-hmm.
Or would you rather have the chance, I'm going to say the chance because you don't know, of 500 people at $10 a ticket, plus if you put that stipulation on, okay, we're only going to charge $10, but you got to buy our food.
Okay. Well,
I mean, you're talking 17.
Yes. Obviously, when you look at it that way, absolutely. The thing is I don't know that you have that guarantee that you're going to get that 500 people.
You don't, and there's other factors, and there's other factors into it.
So it's just a combination of so many different factors that goes into that, and you and I sit here. We'll never agree on it. We won't agree with the guy that lives down the road. We won't agree with the guy that lives across the street from the racetrack. And I'm sure we won't agree with the owner of the racetrack. And, it's one of those things where I don't own a racetrack. And,
and I don't either.
I'm happy to just go to the races.
I'm happy that there's a track in Dundee.
Talk to the drivers.
I'm happy there's a track in Dundee that I can go to on Friday nights.
Absolutely.
Regardless.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
So, yeah, I mean.
Hey, man, this was fun.
Yeah.
Buy or sell.
Buy or sell.
We get a lot of topics. One topic that I left off the list, and we're going to save it for next week, is buy or sell, the new integrated rules package for crate late models and 360 late models.
Next week,
but we'll save that for next week.
Next week could be a good buy and sell for that.
Next week's show is going to be outstanding. We've already confirmed Gary Montgomery from the BRP Can-Am Late Model Series. We've already confirmed Carl Fredrickson, who is the editor of Dick Berggren's Speedway Illustrated. He's going to be on the show to talk to us about why he likes open 360 late models versus crate late models. We're hopefully going to have somebody on with us from the Go Nuclear Late Model Series. I'm working on that as we speak. Just going to be a great show. We've already got the title for the show, The Great Crate Debate. It's going to be a great show. Tune in to us next week. Thank you again, Creekside Entertainment, Penny and Electronics, Race Chaser Online, Speed 77 Radio, for helping us bring the show to our race fans every single week.
Jared Hill, Brady Fultz, thank you very much.
Jared Hill, Brady Fultz, thank you for inviting us into your shop this week. Absolutely outstanding interviews. And I'm telling you, you're going to see the 57J, you're going to see the 70 in Victory Lane this year.
Buying it.
It's going to happen. Buy it. Signed, sealed, and delivered, my friend. For Clint Miller, Brad Ovens, everybody here at the Turn 5 Racing Podcast, I'm your host, Steve Ovens, saying, race fans, be sure to check it before you wreck it. We'll see you for the Great Crate Debate next week.